Welcome back, everyone, to Public Affairs. I am your host, Kayleigh, and today I am here with James and Dean to talk about manufacturing. So, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourselves and why you are where you are in your career?
My name is James Ruble. I am the Career Tech Ed Director at Tri-Rivers Career Center, and been a Career Tech grad and very passionate about Career Tech. And when the opportunity to work with such a great career center like Tri-Rivers, I jumped at the chance. And thanks for having me.
Yeah.
My name is Dean Prigelmeier. I'm founder and president of a company called Proactive Technologies, and we provide support services to companies to help them with their worker development programs. And we've been working in Ohio for quite some time now, so I call this my second home.
Yeah. Well, James, we'll start off with you. Would you like to share some information about your organization that pertains to industry manufacturing?
Sure. Tri-Rivers plays a critical role in bridging the gaps between education and industry by preparing students for careers in the manufacturing sector. We offer specialized programs, certifications that are designed to position the students for direct hire type situations, and to really, once they're hired, to make immediate impacts. We have state-of-the-art training facilities. These facilities are in CNC manufacturing, robotics, computer-aided drafting. We have 3D additive manufacturing capabilities, as well as welding, and we think those support the community very well. We also partner with local businesses to provide students with internships and apprenticeships, and this also provides that real-world learning experience for our students. And the better those relationships are, the more immediate impact that our students have for those companies. So we're very proud to be partnering with a lot of those companies.
Yeah, absolutely. What type of industry manufacturing initiatives is your organization implementing now, and what types of future industry manufacturing initiatives are you planning?
Yeah, so we have high school and adult ed programs, and we do customized trainings for a lot of different companies. Currently, we do welding, robotics, automation training, and like I said, we do the entire engineering package, as well as the welding certifications. And in the future, we're looking at a really innovative collaboration between industry and our career center, which we're calling Project Rise. It is reimagining innovative student experiences. And what this entails is actually having the Career Center operate as more of an economic development driver for the community rather than just a workforce. And what I mean by that is we actually have equipment that can actually help companies produce product. We can help entrepreneurs get started if they wanted to get a start in manufacturing, start their own welding company, start their additive manufacturing company, or a machining company. We can rent time off our machines. We have over $2 million worth of equipment in our lab ready to assist manufacturers in our area. So what we want to do is actually open that up for business. And in turn, that also offers our students a unique experience of working right alongside businesses in these labs to produce company parts, and not just trinkets, but actually parts that a company can sell. And we believe that this type of a relationship between the student and company offers direct hire type situations. Talking today also, we're looking to get into advanced industrial maintenance training. So if we can help companies design an actual manufacturing line, we can also develop and train industrial maintenance technicians to actually work on company's line on an offset location like Tri-Rivers.
Yes. Now we'll move on to Dean. Would you like to share some information about your organization that pertains to industry manufacturing?
Yeah, it might be interesting of how this company got started. Out of high school, I graduated after a vocational training program of 2.5 years that I took in college in electronic engineering technology, and went to work for a manufacturer that was a electronics and metal manufacturer combined, hoping to get a job in the electronics department, and found out that my 2.5-year vocational certificate wasn't quite enough for them, but they would pay for me to go to a local community college to get my associate's degree. So I did that. And I spent 2 years working at that company developing a career in quality control while they were paying for me to go to electronics school. It was the best of both worlds. When I graduated there, I had good grades, but the technology at that time was moving so fast away from the education that the degree wasn't enough to get me that job in the electronics department, even though I'd proven myself in the quality control side. So fast forward to different careers in manufacturing. I spent a lot of time in quality control, quality engineering, product configuration management, training program development, certification program development. And one thing that I noticed in companies was as technology was progressing, they were failing more and more at training their workers internally. Literally, and I say this to this day, the most prevalent form of training you would find is, Bob, this is Jim, why don't you show him around? Mm-hmm. And that was the extent of the training. So you're totally dependent on the goodwill of the person training you, and if they had time to train you. But it just seemed to me that with all this innovative technology coming online, is this the best manufacturers can do to train people? So having been in education, pursuing my degree in a bachelor's in political science and economics and master's in international business, while working in manufacturing, I got a chance to kind of see how both of them partnered together. And I just saw this big division happening, and it was nobody's real fault. It just wasn't keeping up with the times. And so I left Rockwell International, so frustrated in '86, decided to go off and develop my own solution if I was ever back in that situation. So I spent the next year developing a software system that once I analyze a job, it automatically produces all the tools of the human resource development process, from job descriptions, training manuals, procedure manuals, training checklists, so that you can have those current and accurate materials available while you're learning the job. And ever since then, since 1986, ever since then, I've been working with companies, setting up programs and providing the technical implementation support. And it helps to shore up that weak spot so that everything that schools like James produces has a chance to get integrated quickly and fully into that employer's business model. So that's where we fit in.
What role does manufacturing play in the economics of the region your organization serves?
Well, manufacturing all across the state and all across the country is one of the top sectors. I believe it was said through Ohio Manufacturers Association that $1 spent in manufacturing equates to $7 spent in the local economy. It's the highest of all sectors. So manufacturing is a key driver for our area. We hear about Intel, we hear about the Honda plant's expansion. Marysville is always there with the Honda plant. So we have a lot of tier 1 suppliers, tier 2 suppliers that support these efforts. And within the state, manufacturing's always been huge. So what we want to try to do is maintain innovative and relevant programs that feed into those sectors.
Yeah. How can companies get involved with Tri-Rivers, and what can they do more for you guys?
Well, what they can do is go to our website, tririvers.com, and reach out to myself and let me know what needs that your companies have, and see if there's opportunities to, again, have this collaborative experience where we can actually sit and help you make production parts at our facility. And we're looking to do a lot of association type organization meetings at our facility. We're trying to bring that value piece that brings companies to us. So look for that in the community, look for that in our social media. And like I said, if you have any questions, please reach out to me on the Tri-Rivers website.
So what types of industry manufacturing initiatives is your organization helping manufacturers implement now, and what types of future industry manufacturing initiatives are you planning?
Well, I kind of work in the environment of the state I'm working in, and I try to provide a service that is in support of that. For example, a lot of manufacturers have requirements to be ISO certified, which is they have a quality program in place that meets international standards if they want to export. If you're an automobile parts manufacturer, you have IATF. If you're aerospace, you have AS. They all have quality programs they have to comply with. And one of the major requirements of each of those is, do you have training for your workers on each process that you have? Do you have processes? Do you update your folks' training when the process changes? And do you have records to prove all this? And each one of these quality programs requires that. So this type of infrastructure that we set up for an employer helps them comply with that. There's a lot of safety mandates that come down from the state and from the federal government. If there's ever a safety incident, there's an audit involved. It's nice to be able to go back to a record that says that that person was trained not to do that, whatever they were harmed by, and that was indeed an accident. Accidents happen. But if you don't have the records to support it, an employer's kind of in a bad spot. Economic development, I worked with companies that were partnering with companies in other countries to do a joint venture here and create jobs. One of them was in South Carolina with a German company that was partnering with a local company to create a manufacturing facility that would support BMW's expansion. So I try to work with all the agencies and entities. I love to partner with schools when they, like, I've been working with Tri-Rivers Adult Ed Ramtech for many years, partnering on our Certificate of Job Mastery program. And I've worked with Ohio State University, Ohio University, Terra Community College, a number of them throughout the state. But the whole idea is to try to make that bridge work better between the schools that are preparing people for work and making sure the employer does their part and taking them the rest of the way, so that everybody's got a chance to master a job classification. And we all know what being able to do your job completely and expertly can do to your wage levels and your longevity with the companies.
Yeah. I think it's kind of perfect that we have you guys on at the same time, since you are implementing with a school and he is from a school. So your company works with manufacturing throughout the U.S. and have worked with some internationally. What role does manufacturing play in the economics of Ohio region and your organization serves?
Well, I've been working in many states, and so I've seen a lot of transition. Everybody's aware of all the outsourcing that went on in manufacturing, and I've witnessed Ohio cities just dry up when their main manufacturing was outsourced to another country with cheaper labor. It's proven that it has a very important role in maintaining a good economy, a local, regional economy, and a stable society. And fortunately now there's a movement to reshore, they call manufacturing back to the United States. And hopefully they're going to bring a lot of that manufacturing back and produce these things that we used to produce in this country in Ohio. Because manufacturing jobs typically provide not only a higher wage, but in most cases a good benefit package, stability. If we get back to that, it would be a great thing for Ohio and the rest of the country that's doing the same thing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that statement. Your organization's primary focus seems to be around work development. Can you give me an example of how your organization assists manufacturers? Is there a particular size company you work with?
Actually, we work with any size company. I find that big companies tend to have a lot of money, a lot of training budget. They got their own idea of what they want to do. And so I try to focus on the small and mid-sized companies that they have the same need, but they typically don't have the budget to provide appropriate training. So anything we can do to help them, there's a lot of gratitude there, and I enjoy working with those kind of companies. Typically what we would do is we would find out from the employer what job classifications are critical to their operation. These might be jobs where they may only have one person in a job that knows how to run all these machines, and they're nearing retirement. What we try to do is we capture that information that's in that expert's head and put it in a format that can be used to train their replacements and create more experts. And so if we can target the critical jobs for that employer, typically they'll see the benefits of this type of approach, and they'll say, well, let's do some of the supervisor jobs, and let's do some of these. I only have one person in accounting, and boy, if she left, we'd be in deep trouble. Get all that on paper, standardize the processes so that somebody else could come in and quickly reach the expert level. And so we've been doing that. It's almost like an orchestra, because we have all these different companies we're helping at whatever their need is. We design this program to their need and their business model, so every one of them is a little different, but it is what they want, and we want them to realize the expectations that they set for this program. So it's got to be designed to their specs, their needs, and a lot of times from that, either the project expands or they'll tell the manufacturer down the road that, hey, this worked for us. So we've been working with a lot of companies in Ohio in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So you set up structured on-the-job training opportunities for employers to quickly and completely train new hire and incubate workers for their job classifications. Are there opportunities for employees to gain credentials through this process?
Yeah, so many years ago, we developed a certificate of job mastery program. So when we analyze a job classification and we outline all the tasks that make up that job classification, and then all of the best practice procedures for each one of those tasks, and then we identify the core skills, knowledge, and abilities required for each of those, whether or not those are entry level, should be somebody coming to the front door at hiring should have, or those that will be developed while they're in the job. So it's a very complete data set for that job, and all the materials to support this training, and each person's customized training towards that job mastery. Because in manufacturing, it's a little different. Training's different. It's not like standing up in a classroom and talking to 12 people at a time. It's usually one expert trainer that is running from person to person, spending a little time with each one, training a little bit more and a little bit more. So identifying first what all those little pieces are, and then being able to keep record of progress towards job mastery of each of those tasks. It not only sets up like an apprenticeship model to learning the job, but the data that we collect, we like to share with the community colleges and the career centers so that they can take a look at their curriculum and see if, like what James was talking about, bringing some of that work inside so that they could train people at the school before they go out to work. Yeah. It all is possible. But if you don't have that data, it makes it harder to make that connection. There's a lot of unknowns, and you can spend a lot of time developing people and putting them in a workplace only to find out you missed your target, only because they couldn't tell you what that target was.
Yeah.
So by working with the employers, we have an opportunity to not only build this structure that leads to a certificate of job mastery portfolio, and by the way, that's a very elaborate portfolio. We print out reports of all of the tasks they've mastered, all the skills they've demonstrated because they showed they mastered those tasks, all the classes they took while they were employed, and any pre-hire experience and education. So it's like a dynamic resume. You just keep adding to that person's value so that that employer now knows exactly what their return on investment is looking like now, instead of guesswork. You know, I saw it in every company I worked for, and I still see it in a lot of companies today that There's just not, they don't have the infrastructure to keep that kind of records or try to do this. So anything we can do to help them set that up and then implement it and provide technical support to implement it, I think is a good thing. The certificate portfolio has the certificate that's signed by us certifying the data, all the records, and then it's signed by the company's HR director and the general manager. And it's also signed by the school that is our partner, saying we all witness this. We all say this person can do all these things. So now they have this portfolio that's memorializing all the value that they've developed.
Yeah.
And the employer helped, and they had the initiative to go for. So it's a very useful certificate, and so that's where we, again, seems like a linear path from education, who's developing the core skills, the industry general and the industry specific skills, that if we keep making that target, making that approach directed towards that target, then we can have a good outcome that everybody's happy with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you work a lot for kids, not with kids, but for the kids and these people that are going into these companies. So what is your advice for younger kids with a future in manufacturing?
Well, I have a kind of unique perspective because I did both. I worked in manufacturing and now I consult manufacturing. And I work with a lot of people in our programs. So I get to know a lot of people. A project, I might have 300 people going through the training at any one time, and then the people that come and go. So I get to meet a lot of people, and it's good to see a lot of young faces. But I would say that from my own experience, just looking back, when I was in high school, I had an afternoon job of busting tires at a Firestone. I was lucky enough to change the tires on the general manager of a local manufacturer, and he was impressed. He needed to get out in 30 minutes. I got him out in 20, and he gave me his business card and said, if you need a job, come see me. I was there next week. He hired me right off the bat. I started at the lowest level, but by the time I left there, I was in quality assurance. So, I would say you see an opportunity, don't be shy. Go for it. Take a look at any opportunity to work for a place that's providing opportunity as a stepping stone, even if it's the lowest job. Don't say to yourself, this is beneath me, but use it as a way to get to where you want to go. And then as you work, find where you want to go is. You just decide what's going to make you happy in manufacturing, because there's so many ways you can go in management, you can go in skills, skilled trades. So there's lots of opportunities, but don't be in a hurry to pick a place that this is my ultimate goal. If you're not sure, it's okay to just find a way to get in the right direction, and then narrow your direction as you get closer to that goal.
Yeah. I like how you put that, because you can't build a building without the foundation, and you got to have that foundation from where you start.
Exactly.
Perfect. And James, you work with kids, obviously. So if you were to convince someone to be part of Tri-Rivers or what you do, what would you tell them?
Come out and see our opportunities. Again, we have multiple days that we have tours. We have 8th grade tours. We have high school tours. We have a tech retreat for the little kids coming in that's open to middle school and to high school students. We bring them in. We show parents the opportunity. We show them what can be. And because of the strong industry partnerships that we have, we show them the next steps, right, of where they can kind of go to. And I think that's very exciting when you take a look at it. I think, when you look at Dean's program and you look at us, getting the right student or employee trained to succeed makes manufacturing very lucrative. I think you can be very lucrative in manufacturing. And you can meet a lot of different needs, like Dean was talking about, different management, accounting, robotics. There's a lot of different pathways in manufacturing. And I think, if you're involved in manufacturing and you're involved in the let's say a Honda supplier, and you see that car driving down the road that you were involved in, that gives you a sense of pride. I think a lot of communities, just like Dean was talking about, when that manufacturing left, that pride may be left with it. And I think that's one thing that manufacturing can bring, is that local pride and bring a community together.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we're getting ready to wrap up this interview, is there anything you guys like to add or something we may have missed, and we'd like to add a closing statement? James, we'll start with you.
Yeah, if you're interested in the RISE program, please contact me. If you're an entrepreneur, want to start a business in machining, welding, please come reach out. Let's see what we can do to help offset maybe those initial costs. And then if you're a business looking to partner with us, reach out. We'll figure out different projects that we can do to help train our current high school and adult ed students to your process and customize your training that you need. So please reach out.
And Dean.
Well, likewise, I work with employers, so I would just say that if an employer is interested in learning more about this approach, I'd be happy to come out and meet with them and explain this process in more detail and how it might help their operation. There's a lot of turnover these days, and American Machinist magazine recently said that it's about $1 trillion a year, and it's mostly self-inflicted, and that's really because we lost our traction. We're churning people through jobs, but we're not really creating a career opportunity for them. So this type of approach can structure that so that when somebody comes to the job, they can actually see where this is leading. And so this approach helps in that, but there's a lot of other things that this approach can help in compliance, as I mentioned earlier, and cutting the internal costs of unused capacity, underutilized workers, just simply because the training wasn't there to fully train them. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of money that's wasted in every organization because they just have not, and they have no way of measuring it, but that's one of the things we provide, is that metric of how well they're doing towards that goal, even if they're changing. So this is something that employers might be interested in looking at, just as a possible way of alleviating all that pain, cut the internal cost of training, increase work quality, work quantity, productivity, compliance, all those things at the same time, and make hiring a worker the investment it should be instead of the cost that they keep cutting.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you both for coming out and meeting with me today. I learned a lot about your guys' company, and I hope the audience did as well. So I just wanted to thank you guys for coming out today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And as always, you're watching Public Affairs, and I am your host, Kayleigh Aiken. Thank you.
Hi, my name's John Aiken. I'm the president and general manager of the Central Ohio Association of Christian Broadcasters. Hey, have you been wondering what's going on with your local Christian TV station? Maybe they want to find out when certain programs might be airing. Well, how you find that out is pretty easy. You go sign up for a newsletter. It's real easy to do that too. You just go to our website, coacb.org, look for the newsletter tab, fill out the form, click I want to sign up, and we'll get you a newsletter coming to your door today.